desires are the most important thing that you own. Your desires. God came into you to have desires to know God. And we have desires to know so many things. And as we've evolved through the years and times that we've evolved through, even the different lifetimes that we've had many desires. Many, many desires. And God has fulfilled our desires. And God is fulfilling your desires right now in whatever way you want those desires fulfilled. But the interesting thing is that a lot of the desires that are being fulfilled for you right now were really created from another lifetime. We are always working to create our next lifetime, even in the lifetime that we're in. That was a great shock to me when I began to understand that from the higher point of view. When you are living from the fourth dimension, you get to see the third dimension in a whole different way. You are not connected to it and pulled by it. You understand what you came in to do, and then you understand that you don't want to create any more desires that are going to bring you into another incarnation. Because when we are slowly but surely moving through all these dimensions that we live through, there comes a time in our soul that we have made a decision that we want to change our life. We want to experience God. We start to yearn for that part of us that has come down this lifetime to know God in us. God in us. And I can't stress that enough. Your desire to know the God in you and blend with that God and become that God. You see, what happens is, as you let go of the limited self, you become the unlimited self. And that was so hard for me to understand, because I didn't realize that I was in such a little tiny box. But as these parameters got moved out of this small world that Jane had created for herself and started to open it up, I began to see other possibilities for myself as an evolving soul. And once I started to experience myself as an evolving soul, I really got excited, because I realized that life was expanding. Life was not boring anymore. I was not settling for, just settling for. But I was starting to open into a whole different aspect of myself. And that's who you are. You see, as you move in consciousness, you begin to understand you're more than who you thought you were, but you understand everybody else is too, you see? So that gives you a new perspective and a new drive to understand more about yourself. You see, you have the mind of God in you. And when I began to think about what does that mean, the mind of God, I'm an intelligent being. I, did well in school. I had many abilities, and God is expressing as me and those things, okay. But there's more, and I wanted that more. And I discovered that there is the abstract mind of God, an abstract mind. An abstract painting, when you look at one, you see all the different colors, and then you have to imagine what that artist was trying to portray. Well, when you're in the mind of God, you work with the abstract mind of God. And what that means for you is you have to let go of your intellectual mind, because it cannot it cannot understand the abstract mind. So that's why the intellect has to go down. The intuition has to come up. And once the intuition starts developing in you, you start connecting to the abstract mind, which once you connect with that abstract mind, what happens is that you start to think like God thinks. Now, that sounds way out there, but that is the truth. You start to look at life as God thinks of the life of each and every soul. You don't think of them and judge them. You see them for the journey that they've had and the hard work that they've had to get to where they are. You understand that there was a lot more to that soul that you see just sitting there or you're talking to. You understand that they have evolved to and had very many hard times in lifetimes. They've had magnificent, grandiose lifetimes, but now they're here. And they are wanting and desiring to experience all that they are, just like you are. You know that there's more to you. You know there's another dimension that is pushing you forward, and that you can look at life from a higher perspective. It's the difference from looking at life from the mountaintop view than just on the ground view. You know when you're standing on a mountain, you can see so much more than when you're standing on the ground. Just in a building, if you're up on the 5th floor of the building and you're looking out the window, you're going to see a lot more than the person walking down the street. That's the difference between the 3rd and 4th dimension. If you think I'm trying to sell you the 4th dimension, you're absolutely correct. I'm a salesman, and I'm going to sell you why you need to look at the 4th dimension and how it is such an advantage to being able to move into that new dimension of being, because then you're not stuck in this limited thinking pattern.